Alright, so we're going to create a video series for web development, strictly PHP, WordPress development, and I would like to create or start developing in code within my current system, my Windows current system right here, my Windows desk, my Windows laptop. However, I don't want to install extra features such as virtual machine platforms, VirtualBox, VMware. I don't want to use fully Hyper-V. I don't want to have to install a full-pledged, full OS, right? I wanted everything to be, really small, a small footprint. So with that said, I will like to try out WSL version 2. So about a few weeks ago, or probably a month or two ago, Microsoft released WSL Windows Subsystem for Linux version 2. With version 2, you can do a lot more, right? Because it's somewhat more integrated with Hyper-V, Microsoft Hyper-V, which is their hypervisor, Microsoft's hypervisor system. So with that said, before we can actually start using WSL version 2, we would have to make sure our Windows 10 machine is up to date, right? Because we would have to be using Windows 10 version 2004. If you don't have, you can click on Start, you can click on Task, run System Task, and run System Update, and it can, Windows Update, to see if you can actually download that feature, which is 2004. If for whatever reason, if it's not downloading or it's not actually finding that update, you can just download, go into Microsoft's website, do a Google search, and look for Microsoft's media creation tool, and you can actually update your current system using that tool. To check if you have the current version, click on Start, and then type WinVer for Windows version, and then click on it, and then you can see at the top it says Windows 10 version 2004. Okay, once you verify you have the latest version, you would have to enable two features. So enable those features, click on Start, and then type Features, and then click on Turn Windows Features on or off. Okay, so we would have we are required to enable two features: Hyper-V. Make sure that's checked off. Make sure you have a check near it, and scroll down, and we have to check off Virtual Machine Platform. Make sure you place a check in that as well. Hit OK. It's going to install the two features and require you to reboot your computer. Once your computer is back online, you would have access to WSL. What else can we do? I think WSL, I'm not sure if, I forget, but I'm not sure if it's going to automatically prompt you to update the Linux kernel, or it's going to, or you, more than likely it's going to direct you to a link where you would have to. So this is the link, right? So I can just type WSL2 Linux kernel, right? Update. Okay. So, and this is it right here. This is the it will just tell you what to do. It's pretty darn straightforward, right? It says please download. You would download the Linux kernel, next type of install, and you're good to go. Okay. So once you have that going, then you can actually start your downloading whatever version of OS that you like. You can actually go into the Microsoft Store if you like, and you can download it this way. You can just type Linux, and then you hit enter, and then you have a list right here. I think it stops right here. So you can download your Ubuntu, Kali, 2018, Debian, and SUSE, right? But I don't like doing it from the Linux store, right? I prefer to do it from the command line, from a terminal. Before you go into before you go into the terminal, just go into a Google search again, and then just type in WSL Linux. This is what I normally do: Linux distro manual, right? Oops. manual download, right? And it will take you to manual download. Yeah, that's fine. And you'll see these are the lists, the same list that we've seen on the Microsoft, the Windows Store. You will see this as well. It's pretty straightforward. I like to stick with 18. I haven't really played around with 20. So if you highlight this and you see right here, right at the bottom, you have the link, right? So that's the link to the actual distro for Ubuntu, and that's what we're going to be using right now. We're going to use that environment, Ubuntu 18.04. So I'm going to just copy that link, right click, copy link location, because we're going to need that. Okay, so I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to bring up Windows Terminal. Okay, and I'm going to go into, I have a secondary drive, and I'm going to go to OS. So this is where I want to place all my packages, anything that got to do with WSL. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, I believe, let me just put this in a notepad because not really, it's not really required, because I think there's a link. There's going to be a link here, and it's going to, this is the command right here, invoke. So this is how this is the command we're going to use to download the Ubuntu, right? So we're going to download that. So we're going to copy that, and you can see it's using pretty the same format, WSL-Ubuntu- and then the version, right? Because you see here, same thing, except that version on their website is using 16.04. So the only thing we have to do is change, oops, no way. I cleared out, I was trying to do that. The only thing we would have to do is change that 6 to 8, right? And that's it. And I also like to call this 18.04, right? Because I want to be a little bit strict, so we could actually know what versions we have. So basically, it's going to download into this package, Ubuntu 18.04. Okay, and remember, it's going to download wherever your current location is, in whatever directory you're in. So if you're in your System32 directory, it's going to download that file, this file here, into that. So make sure you be in the current directory, a directory that you're aware of. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to do its thing. This is going to take a while, probably, depending on your network speed. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when this download is complete. All right, so the download is complete, and it's about 219 megs. Not bad. 220, 224 megs. So all right, so we don't need this anymore. So the next command is to actually install the package, right? So we can see it's using add appx package and then the name of the package. Okay, so add appx package and the name of the package. I don't even it's Ubuntu, so that's way in the same. So we're just going to run that command. Okay, and that's about it for that. So it's so simple, right? The next, we can actually install the package. Now, what I like to do is bypass the user creation, because during the installation for Ubuntu, I'm not sure about the others, I think most distros, it's going to prompt you, at least WSL will prompt you to create a user. For this, since this is our dev environment and this is our laptop, I'm just going to be, I want to be logged in as root at all times, right? So it'll alleviate any issues or whatever. Just let me as root. If you want to create a non-root user, so where that user will have sudo access and he run sudo, and just in case they need elevated permissions, you can do so. But I'm gonna bypass that. I would just rather be using root for now. So for that, you could just type in Ubuntu and then hit tab on your keyboard. See, I'm just typing a few characters until I get the executable. So right here, you see. So if I typed in this command and just hit enter right now, it's just going to go through the installation process. It's going to install Ubuntu, and then at the very tail end of it, it's going to prompt you to create a user. But in this case, I'm going to bypass that step. So what I will do is type in install, and then just put dash dash root. Oops, and that's it. Okay, so it's just going to install it, and it's going to install it as root, and that's it. That the root is going to be the user, and that's it. It's not going to prompt me to generate a user, create a user, anything like that. Okay, so here we go. Once that has been completed and once it's done, we should be able to see that that we have Ubuntu available for us, that distro available for us to use, not only from the command line, but we would have it in the start menu as well. Case in point, or just FYI, that whenever you install something, a distro directly from Microsoft, it will meaning whenever you install it using the package, the appx package command, it will create an icon for you. But there are other instances where you want to install a Linux distro that's not from the Microsoft Store, and whenever that's the case, you will not have access to let's show you right here. And if I just type Ubuntu, you will see it right here. So this is the icon right here. If I just click that, it would just open up a bash terminal and directly into Ubuntu Linux, right? But if you was going to manually create a distro and import it into WSL, you won't have any icons like this unless you go through a lot of steps and manually creating your own. Okay, just a little side note there. Okay, so the installation is complete. So now if I do a WSL-L for list and -V for verbose, and hit enter, you will see I have Ubuntu 18.04. It's in stop mode, and as you can see, it's not it's not version 2. I'm sure there's a way where you could do the install and you could set a version during the install. I have to look that up. But there is a way to make it version 2, and setting version 2 is imperative for our steps going through the process, because we're going to run into issues down the line, and we would resolve those issues as we go. But we would have to convert this version 1 to version 2, and that's pretty straightforward, right? But there is another step. I don't like doing this step. You could just do a system-wide, right? There's a command where you could do system-wide. I think I would just show you the command. I'm not going to execute it, but you can do it system-wide. So you can do a set version, right? And the name. No. This is not the system-wide version, is it? Yeah, this is actually this will actually set the version for my distro. So the default will set it. So this version right here. So this command will actually set system-wide the version to version 2. So whenever I install a distro, that distro will automatically be version 2. But for my purposes, I don't like doing that, because there's going to be some instances where I want to stay with the older version, testing things out, and then if I feel confident, and I'm going to the newer version. So it's up to you if you want to just plainly go version 2 right from the get-go. Set that as your default, and you should be good. You wouldn't have to go through the steps that we're about to go through right now. All right. So the steps that we're going to go through right now, we're going to actually set the version, right? So we're going to set version. Okay. The name. Can I? I was trying to cheat. Okay. So yeah, it won't let me. Okay. So I'm going to do 18.4. So you have to set the version of the WSL distro, which is this guy. I want to set the version for this guy. Okay. So, and then what? Right, so then what are you going to do? The version 2. It's that simple. And that's it. So once we hit enter, this step is going to take an extremely long time. I may have to pause the video. This is why I'm hit enter, and it's doing it right now. This is why I rather say if there's a way to do it during the installation, fine, go ahead. But we're going to have to wait until we actually convert that version 1 to version 2, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when the conversion is complete. All right, so the conversion is complete, and if we go press up on the up arrow on the keyboard to get the previous commands, WSL-L-V, enter, you will see now it's version 2. Previously it was version 1. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the screen by pressing Control L. Now to start this, we could just type WSL-D for the distro and the name of the distro, which is a WSL 18.04, and then hit enter, and there we go. We're inside the Ubuntu. To prove that we're in there, let's do a cat Etsy OS release, enter, and there we go. Ubuntu 18.04. And also you see, this is also awesome that you see this MNT-DOS is using that, like that SIGWin format, so we can actually access our computer from here, right? So this DOS is actually pointing to my computer. It's pointing to this drive here, Ubuntu, right? So if I do ls, you see that file. That's this file, right? So for instance, let's say if I want to create a file, touch, I'm gonna name it text. I'm gonna create a test file, right? And it should automatically appear here. Boom, there you go. That's awesome. And this could be vice versa, right? I can open that file, I can say, hello world, save it, close it, right? So now I could just output that file and I see hello world. You see it right here. It's awesome. So the thing is, I don't want to be here at all times. I'd rather be inside my Linux environment, right? The VM. So when I say Linux environment, so if you're curious, this is, let's see if I have a previous. I don't. Oh no, it's the C drive. Can I get a previous command? No. All right. So let's see if we can actually find it. I don't recall. Let me just pause it and pick that up. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I had a brain freeze. So it's in my users. So it's in my users folder, and it's in the hidden folder. Your app data. So app data. So you can go into there, local, and then your packages, right? So this is where your WSL distros are placed. So this is the current one. So it's a Ubuntu 18.04. Click that. Go into local state, and this is the guy right here, right? So this guy normally I would have access to this file and I could just go directly into it, but I can't right now. So it's like a hard disk image, right? So I want to be inside of this hard disk, right, and do everything and mess everything up. If I do anything, it's going to be inside this hard disk, right? So right now I'm in my D drive. So this is actually files and folders that's in my computer. So no, just to change that. So to change that, the best thing to do is just do a cd change directory tilde, and that's it. You just go into your home directory, the root's home directory. So if you do a print working directory, you'll see I'm in my root, right? That's simple, right? You do an ls. You're in your root directory, right? So I'm not in my computer anymore. So if you want, you remember it was that MNT, right? So if you do an ls MNT C, so this is my C drive. These are all see, you got my documents, program files. This is all Windows stuff, right? So, but we still have access to that. So I'm gonna clear the screen. Okay. So next thing I like to do is set a password. Again, this is not required. This is your VM, so just set a password for the root, right? It's not required because I doubt if you would ever get prompted to enter this password again, but it's good to just set a password for the root. All right, so I have a password for the root, and that's it. The next thing we're gonna run into that I discovered using WSL, that's either case version 1 definitely, and version 2 is the same thing, is using systemd, right? System, the system control command, systems CTL. It basically controls systemd, right? And it's a utility to start services and all that stuff. So we have a problem with that system. So to show you what I mean, if I do a system CTL status, we have this error, right? It's saying system has not been booted with systemd as init system PID 1, right? That is definitely that's true, because we have, this is WSL. Of course we didn't boot the system, systemd. We don't even have this process ID 1. To prove that, do a PS1, and it's saying TTI. What? It's not. So we not, and again, to prove that, we can just do system CTL. We can actually try to look for any services, right? So normally we would be able to get a list of services, right? Same error. So this would be the problem. We would get this error no matter what. We would get this error if we try to install Apache, when we try to start. No, we can install Apache without an issue. We would get the problem when we try to enable the Apache service. We would get the same error, or we would get some type of dbus error and so forth. So that will be, and just to I'm going to prove that case right now. So let's just do a app update first, right? So I'm going to update the repository, make sure we're all up to date and we're ready to install the latest software, right? I'm not going to do an upgrade just yet. I'll do the upgrade at the very end of it. So now I could do an app install, right? App install, and I'm not going to use Apache right now. I'm going to use Nginx for my WordPress development. So I'm just going to install Nginx, hit Y. Oh, forgive me for that noise out there. Okay, so once this installation is complete, I'm gonna it will allow me to create so I could do a systems, I can enable it, and it's going to create the service, right? Oops. Right, so I ran this command, systemctl enable nginx, enter. See, no problems. It created the service, enabled it, boom, we're good, right? But now if I do a systemctl start, this is where we're going to run into the issue. Start nginx. That same ugly error, right? And of course, when we do status, it's going to show that it's not running. Nope. Wow, it's not. It's like we can't do anything with this command. So after scouring the internet, if I found fixes for that, we would use two tools. dbus, we would install the dbus session, user session, and as well as daemon noise, right? So that's going to be a trick, and it's going to be, we're going to create two namespaces, and we're going to have it up and running, no issues. Okay, so we ran the update already. So we did this. So next thing, we're going to install the daemon noise. Forgive me if I'm slaughtering that that word or that name. System, oops, not system. App install. Okay, was that day 8? Okay, daemon us and do the Y for automatically accept the install, quick install, right? I'm gonna hit up on the up on. I'm gonna hit up on the arrow key on my keyboard. I'm gonna erase that one command, and I'm gonna install a different one, which is dbus user system. I can't talk this morning. Dbus user session. Okay. Okay. So that's app install dbus user session -y. And again, this is for Ubuntu. I'm not sure about other distros. I have tried this on Arch, because Arch Linux is also having the same problem. I believe probably all Linux is probably having the same issue. Arch Linux, we don't have these commands. These packages is not available for Arch Linux. But yeah, so Arch Linux is also having a command. I don't believe that anyone came up with a fix for that. So I'm gonna clear the screen, up arrow on my keyboard. I'm gonna delete this, and then we're gonna font config. All right, another package, font config. Okay, enter, and that's it. That's it for the packages. 3 packages, and we're good to go. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a file within sbin directory called start-systemd -namespace. And it has a few commands in here. It's like about 30 lines, in which I don't like typing that much. So I have a GitHub where I have this basic stuff, right? So it's just simple. So this is the start. Where's this guy at here? Start. Named it correctly, right? So what I'm going to normally do, I'm just going to copy the name, right? Go in here, and I'm using Vim. So Vim in this package, in this distro, Vim has been already installed for us, so we don't have to install it, right? So that'll be user sbin. Oops. Why is it sbin? And that's it. That's the name of that's the entire path. So we basically creating this file. So we're creating start-systemd -namespace, and we placing that file inside that user usr -sbin directory. Okay, hit enter. Okay, we're in Vim, editor of choice. At least it's my editor of choice. And I'm gonna press I on my keyboard so I can go into edit mode. Okay, insert. So now I can start typing. See, I can start doing stuff here. Okay, I'm backspace. I'm delete. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to my GitHub. I'm gonna copy this. So instead of start copying this like this, it's probably gonna copy letters and anything that's I don't want to copy non-ASCII type stuff. So I'd rather hit raw and get the raw data, right? So type, click on the raw. You get the raw text. Control C, Control A to copy all, and then Control C to copy it. Okay. Or if you prefer the Windows way, right click on the blank space, select all, right click, copy. So once you're back here, Control V to paste it in. Okay. I have everything in there. Yep. It looks like something has, everything's in there. Okay, so I'm gonna do Control C to get out of insert mode, and then I'm gonna hit :WQ. So that's for write. So it's gonna write, save the file, and then it's gonna Q is to quit. So write and quit. Boom, quit. So I'm gonna go back in and just look at it again. Just make sure everything is looking okay. It's okay. I'm gonna look up. Everything is fine. It's okay. I'm gonna just quit. Okay. So that was simple. So the next thing, oops, get out of here. So the next thing, that was a start. All right. Enter. So we go into enter systemd namespace. All right. So we're going to create this file again. We're going to create another file. Okay. So we created the start systemd namespace, and this one is enter. the system, and it's in the same location. Okay, so it's going to be the same location. Okay, then bring that up, go into raw, so we can have Control A, Control C. Okay, so that's the file. I will put this links in the within the description of the video, so you have access to it. Okay, Control V, Control C to get out of the edit mode, :WQ to write and quit. We have access, and I'm gonna go back in just to look at it, and it looks fine. So I'm gonna do Control C and then :Q for quit. Fine, that's that, right? Next thing we do, I'm gonna press up on my keyboard. So this is the only file that we would have to have execute permissions. All right. So change mod, right, +X. So we want this file to be able to be an executable, right? That's it. Boom. That's done with that command. All right. And that's it. So the next thing we would do was just add some. We will update the sudo, the vi sudo, to add some permissions and some shortcuts into the profile. So I hope we won't run into this issue, but I've been having issues with copying and pasting lately with this vi sudo file, right? So go into this vi sudo excerpt and click raw. So copy this. Okay, so we're going to put this in the vi sudo. So you do a sudo vi sudo. So this we're basically going to edit that sudo file, the sudo's file. This is best practice to do it this way, just in case if you have any errors in your syntax errors, it would catch it. If you would actually edit the file directly, you would get no errors until you actually probably try to do something that requires sudo or something. You would get an error, and then you just like, oh, what to do? You have to try to figure out how to go back, right? All right, so sudo vi sudo. Okay, and what I like to do, I like to place everything at the very bottom right here. Then I'm gonna Control V, because I already copied that into my clipboard. I have access. I remember this is nano. This is not vi. This is not vim. I mean, so it'll be different. So you have the syntax with how we're gonna do stuff, right? So Control X is to exit, and then we will be prompted if we want to save the file. So I'm gonna do Control X, and it says save modified buffer. So right now you see we're in a buffer. We're in a sudoers.tmp. We're in a temp file. So it's basically like they said, it's a buffer. So now we're going to save everything from the buffer, and it's going to go back to the actual just the sudoers file. And I'm going to say yes, save it. Okay, and hit enter, and then boom, it took it that time. No worries, no issues. Okay. Another thing we have to do is we're going to have to update our bash rc file. And again, I hate typing, so I made it simple for everyone, including myself mainly. Where's that guy here? Bash rc raw. Just copy this command. Oh yeah, copy this command. Okay, simple. Just right here in your kit, and right in the terminal, hit enter. Boom, it updated that bash rc. That was it. So we're basically done for Linux right now. So the only thing we would have to do, I don't think I have any more scripts. Do I? Bash no. So we're done with Linux. So we could hit exit to get out of Linux. Okay, so we're back in Windows. So right now we're gonna add environment variables, right? So we can have access to our bash, right? To that bash rc that we just created. Okay, so it's just two commands that we're gonna type, or two lines actually. cmd for a command. Oops, right? Then just and then -C, so it would be for the command. So we want cmd to run this command, okay? And the command is that set x, set that environment variable, right? I should have copied this onto my all right. So with the help of video editing, I paused the video, stopped the video, and I actually copied it. So I have the commands in the GitHub, and there you go. So basically these are the commands we're going to run. Okay, so the first one would be this one. Okay, see. Okay, it's basically setting the WSL environment to bash underscore environment. Okay, successful. The next one is doing the same thing, but it's doing this one is going into the etc bash.bashrc. This is the file that we created. Okay, and that's it. Those two commands, boom, we're done. So with that, we should be able to just go back, launch. We should be able to just go right into Ubuntu, no issues, and perfect. We're in. Had my fingers crossed because didn't want, because sometimes if you had some errors in those two files that we created, the systemd files, it will just hose the entire system. It won't even boot into the Ubuntu. So the next thing that we're gonna do is basically we could I think we're done. We just gotta go right now. Just now, if I do the system CTL status, remember before we was getting that process, we couldn't find systemd and all that PID1, all that nonsense. Now it should work. Look at that, boom, I have access to, so it's actually thinking that we actually run it into, we boot it into using systemd. It's awesome. So you can do the same thing, the same commands that we ran. What was it? That command was a type equals service. Oops, what was that? I did system type double. Sorry, it's double. Okay, and these are all the services that's running or not running, but we see the services. Awesome. So with that said, now if I do a PS1, it's running, but it's running using systemd. I don't know what's this TTY. I don't think we are in TTY. Nevertheless, we can do a system. Well, first of all, before I do a system, let me do an IP address to see what's this IP address. This is the IP address, right? Copy that. So I'm going to another tab. I'm ping that. See if I can ping it. Yes, I can ping it, right? So, but let me see. Can I go to it? Look at that. Right into it. So that means when we rebooted, when we got out and went back in, that means now if I was to go, if I was to do a systemctl status, nginx, it's active, it's running. Nginx is up and running. You see, we can prove that by, we can stop it. Say we can play around with the services here. Stop it, go up to look at the status, and it's not running. It's inactive. You see here, and if I refresh this page, it's gonna time out. It's gonna try to look for it, and it's gonna say page cannot be found. There you go, unable to connect. So that's awesome. We got it up and running. So we got one portion of it up and running. Let me start the service again. So we got one portion of it up and running, right? Which is nginx. So in the next video, we're gonna install Apache. I'm sorry, no, we're not gonna deal with Apache. MySQL and PHP. And if there's still time within that video, we're gonna install WordPress. And we're gonna, It's going to be awesome. And then in a few videos down the line, or within, we'll see how it goes, and we'll start installing some GUI tools, so we will have access to Linux within, Linux system files or whatever, Ubuntu, Nautilus within Windows. But at least we were one step in the right direction. We're almost done. Okay, so see you in the next video.